Hi my friends, welcome to Noel Farm Channel. Do you know there are more than 20,000 species of seaweed? In today's video, let's discover how this plant is cultivated in different countries. We will learn how it is harvested from nature in Scotland, how baby seaweeds are created from a lab in France. We will also visit Korean and Canadian factories to see how seaweed is processed. And if you stick around until the end, I've got a special gift for you. A recipe for a delicious dish made with seaweed that's super easy to cook. So let's get started. The first location we will visit today is a beautiful coastline in Scotland. Let's listen to Rory, an experienced harvester, sharing some tips on how to pick the best seaweed.
There's 8 or 10, possibly 12 types of new nutritious seaweed in Scottish waters, and identifying where, when and why to pick is absolutely key. We'll only harvest seaweed in areas where there's high nutrient exchange to make sure that the leaves of the seaweed is full of nutrients, and we will only harvest in areas where the water is absolutely clean. You can smell clean water. And the waters which we harvest are chosen for their proximity to a coastline where very little happens. By doing that, we ensure absolute purity of our seaweeds, and there are not that many parts of the coastline where you can be absolutely sure of cleanliness.
There are a lot of seaweeds in nature you can harvest. We will learn how it is harvested in large scale by a big company later. For now, let's see how it is farmed in Brittany, a region to the northwest of France. Let's follow Francois and Magali. They have been farming seaweeds for decades. Their processes are natural, and their priority is to cultivate seaweeds while respecting the environment. Everything begins with the collection of seaweeds on the foreshore. On the beach, the farmer collects janitors of kelp which are going to help her produce seedlings. She looks for the darkest areas where there are spores, which are reproductive cells of seaweeds. By mixing this, Magali encourages the release of the spores. If the water goes dark, it's a good sign. Look at this, we can clearly see the little spores swimming around. After 30 to 40 minutes, they filter the solution to eliminate organic particles and the mucus. Then she dilutes the solution to make sure there are not too many spores. The next step is to immerse these collectors in the solution. The spores are going to germinate for 8 to 10 days in male or female filaments. And the next step is the hatchery. Magali is going to put the collectors into tanks under controlled temperature for about 20 to 30 days. Thanks to the microscope, we can see the small spores swimming. They are easy to recognize due to their form of small transparent balls. On this image, the color has changed, the spores have settled. Within 1 month, the arrival of small plantlets is visible. What are colored are the baby seaweeds. At this time, they are about 1 to 3 millimeters and ready to be transferred to the open sea. The next step is biomass production, which usually happens from October to November, so that they can harvest in spring. Magali will wrap the string holders of the plantlets around the rope. Do you know what is the use of this wet towel? It is to protect the small seaweeds from direct sunlight. They need to make it wet every 30 minutes with seawater. Each box like this can hold up to 10 collectors, which gives them enough coverage for 300 meters of the long line rope. Can you believe that this produces between 3 to 6 tons of fresh seaweed? And they repeat this process 8 to 10 times each season. Seaweed is a variety of marine plants and algae that grow in the ocean, rivers, and lakes. It comprises red, green, and brown algae that form dense growth on rocky shores or accumulations in shallow water. Let's head over to New Brunswick, a coastal province to the east of Canada, where we will see how a big company harvests seaweed on a large scale and manages its resources. Are you curious about how much harvesters earn in a week? Stick around, and we will find out soon. Here, the harvesting season takes place from mid-May until the end of September. And the team currently has 30 harvesters. They usually start working in the morning when the tide is going up. Here's a useful tip: make sure to leave a certain length of the plant so it can regrow in next seasons. To ensure sustainable harvesting, big companies have a quota predetermined by the government. In New Brunswick, the limit is 17% of the biomass that's out in the field. And scientists are hired to manage resources efficiently. They regularly check the seaweed bed and advise on how much to harvest each year. It takes 4 to 5 hours for a harvester to fill the boat with around 4 tons of seaweed. That means an average of 20 tons per week. Harvesters can earn from $1,000 to $1,500 weekly. Now let's see how it is processed in factory to produce feed products for animals. The first step is solar drying of seaweeds. Their goal in the drying operation is to reduce moisture from about 75% to under 13%, which normally is in a day. To dry the seaweed, they spread it on over 2 million square feet of pavement. And then utilize the sun's energy to dry the seaweed. They first spread the seaweed evenly on the drying surface. And then the team walks and visually inspects the entire spread area to ensure there are no feed safety hazards. This machine is used to flip the seaweed to ensure even drying of the product. Once dried, the seaweed is windrowed using a farm rake. After windrowed, a forage harvester is used to chop the seaweed and blow it into transfer wagons. Mechanical brooms are used to sweep the product after the forage harvester. A mechanical vacuum is used as a final step to vacuum up all the remaining seaweed particles. The dried product is then weighed, transferred to storage buildings, and held for additional processing. The global seaweed market size reached $7.5 billion in 2022 and is projected to reach $14.3 billion by 2028, growing at a rate of 8.7% from 2022 to 2028. The growth is attributed to factors such as high nutritional value and health benefits, and rising demand for seaweed in end-use industries such as personal care, pharmaceuticals, agriculture, food and beverage. Now let's see how it is processed in a Korean food factory to produce seaweed labor. Seaweed is a rich source of iodine and tyrosine that enhance growth, energy production, and the repair of damaged cells in the body. It offers several antioxidants, such as vitamins A, C, and E, carotenoids, and flavonoids, that protect the body from cell damage.